I'm super nervous about sharing this story with you all, but I feel like I need to get it off my chest. My own mother turned against me, accusing me in court of being an unfit mom who couldn't handle her kids. But she didn't know the one secret that would unravel her entire plan. I've been a family court judge for 7 years. That day in court, when the truth came out, the room went so quiet you could hear a pin drop. My heart was racing, my palms sweaty, ready to face her and fight for my family. Hey there, everyone. My name's Emily Carter, 32 years old, mom to my amazing 4-year-old daughter, Lily, and my 2-year-old son, Michael, who's always getting into mischief. I've been married to my husband, Bill, for 8 years. He's my rock, my best friend, the guy who can make me laugh even when everything's falling apart. We live in a quiet suburb outside Boston. Well, I felt like a warm hug for the longest time. Family dinners, weekend adventures, dreams of growing our little crew, it was all so perfect. But my mother, Margaret, was quietly plotting something that would shatter our world. Those early days were like a dream you never want to wake up from. I'd wake up to Lily's giggles filling the house, her tiny voice shouting, "Mommy," pancakes as she ran into the kitchen, curls bouncing like springs. I'd scoop her up, feeling her warm little arms around my neck, while Michael babbled from his crib, his big blue eyes sparkling with mischief. The kitchen smelled of fresh coffee and buttery pancakes as Bill flipped them, humming a silly tune to make the kids laugh. Bill's a software engineer, always steady, always finding time for us despite his long hours. He'd leave notes on my coffee mug, cute things like, "You're my hero, Judge Carter," that warmed my heart even on tough days. My job as a family court judge was intense but fulfilling, helping kids find safe homes, giving me purpose. Home was my sanctuary, filled with Lily chasing butterflies in the backyard and Michael toddling after her, giggling like it was the best game ever. Margaret would visit often, bringing cookies for Lily and tiny knit hats for Michael, sitting on our couch, sipping tea, telling stories about her childhood. I thought she was just being a loving grandma, proud of the life we'd built. But those visits hid something sinister, and I was too wrapped up in our happy routine to notice. The first signs were so subtle I brushed them off. It was a sunny Sunday last spring, and we were at a park near our house. Lily was pushing Michael on a swing, her face glowing with pride as he squealed. The air was sweet with blooming flowers, and I felt so content watching them. Margaret pulled me aside, her voice low and sharp. "Emily, you're letting Lily run too wild," she said, her eyes narrowing. A good mom would keep a closer eye on her kids. Her words stung, dragging up old memories of my childhood when nothing I did was good enough for her. "Mom, she's fine," I said, forcing a smile to keep things calm. "We're right here." She nodded, but later, as we packed up, I saw her scribbling in a little notebook, her pen moving fast, like she was keeping a secret tally. My stomach twisted, a faint unease settling in. That night, as the smell of lasagna filled our kitchen, Bill noticed I was quiet. He wrapped his arms around me, his warmth easing the knot in my chest. "She's just being critical, he said softly. "Don't let it get to you." I nodded, trying to shake it off, but her comments kept coming about my long hours at the courthouse, how Michael seemed fussy, how Lily's ponytail wasn't neat enough. Each one was a tiny dab, not enough to knock me down but enough to bruise. I didn't know those bruises were building into something much bigger. By summer, the hints were impossible to ignore. We threw a big family barbecue in July, our backyard buzzing with cousins and neighbors, the smoky smell of burgers sizzling on the grill. Lily was drawing rainbows with chalk on the driveway, her hands covered in bright colors, while Michael napped in his stroller, peaceful and content. Margaret showed up with a basket of peaches and strawberries, but her eyes were cold, like she was studying me. As I juggled burgers and kids, she pulled me aside, her voice dripping with fake concern. "Emily, you look exhausted," she said, lips pursed. "How do you manage with that demanding job?" maybe you should stay home more." Her words hit hard, stirring up doubts about balancing work and motherhood. My cheeks burned, my heart racing with anger and insecurity. "We're doing fine, Mom," I mumbled, keeping my voice steady. Bill stepped in, cracking a joke to lighten the mood, but her stare followed me all day. Later, as I tucked Lily into bed, her little hand clutching mine as she whispered, "Love you, Mommy," I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. "She's up to something," I told Bill that night in our quiet living room. He squeezed my hand, his eyes warm. "You're overthinking it, Em. She's just judgy. Let's focus on our family." I wanted to believe him, so I pushed the unease down, focusing on Lily's cuddles and Michael's first words, like little bursts of magic. But then came the call that changed everything. It was a Tuesday evening in August, the kids asleep, their soft breaths crackling through the baby monitor. The phone rang, and it was my younger sister, Rachel, 30 years old, fighting addiction since college. Her voice shook, tears choking her words. "Emily, they took Emma," she sobbed. Emma's her 6-year-old daughter, a bright girl with Rachel's curly brown hair and curious eyes. Child Protective Services had stepped in after Rachel overdosed, leaving Emma alone in their apartment for hours, scared and confused. My heart broke imagining Emma's big eyes filled with fear, maybe calling for her mom in the dark. Tears pricked my eyes, my chest tight with worry and sadness. "We'll help, Rachel," I said firmly. "We'll figure this out." Bill and I sat at the kitchen table that night, tea steaming between us, the house quiet except for the fridge's hum. "We can apply for temporary custody," Bill said, his hand on mine, his voice full of love. "Emma deserves a safe home, and we can give her that." I nodded, picturing Emma's smile, feeling determination mixed with worry. We called Margaret the next day, expecting her support as Emma's grandma. But her response was cold. "That's a huge responsibility, Emily. Are you sure you're up for it with your busy life?" Her tone made my skin crawl, sharp and judgmental, but I pushed forward, thinking she'd come around. I had no idea she was setting a trap. The shock hit a few days later at the social worker's office. Patricia, the social worker, shifted uncomfortably in her chair, the room smelling of old files and stale coffee. "Your mother, Margaret, has filed for custody of Emma," she said. My breath caught, and I gripped Bill's hand, my knuckles white. My heart pounded, disbelief and betrayal crashing over me. Margaret. My own mother, who'd spent years criticizing my parenting, thought she could raise Emma better. Why would she do this? I whispered to Bill as we drove home, tears blurring the Boston skyline. His jaw was tight, but his voice was steady. "We'll fight this, for Emma, for our family." That night, I called Margaret, my hands shaking. "Mom, how could you?" I asked, my voice cracking. "We're ready to take Emma in." Her reply was ice cold. "That child needs real stability, Emily, not a mother chasing her career." I slammed the phone down, collapsing onto the couch, sobs shaking me as Bill held me close. His arms were strong, but the pain was raw, like a fresh wound. This wasn't just a disagreement, it was betrayal, and it was only the beginning. The mediation session felt like a battlefield. We sat across from Margaret in a stark room, a long table between us like a war zone. Patricia scribbled notes as Margaret spoke, her voice calm but venomous. "Emily's too busy for Lily and Michael," she said, her eyes locked on mine. "She works late, leaves them with sitters, barely has time to breathe. Adding Emma would be reckless." Each word was a punch, my face burning with rage and sadness. I wanted to scream, but I kept my voice steady. "Bill and I have a stable home," I said, gripping the table. "We balance work and family, and we're ready to love Emma." Bill nodded, his presence grounding me. But Margaret didn't flinch. She pulled out her notebook, her spy journal, and read. April 10th. Emily left Lily with a babysitter for 8 hours. June 15th. Michael was fussy, probably because Emily's always at work. My stomach churned as I realized she'd been watching us for months, twisting normal moments into evidence. The session ended in a stalemate, tension thick enough to choke on. As we left, I saw a glint in Margaret's eyes, satisfaction, maybe triumph. That night, as Lily and Michael slept, I sat in the dark, wondering how my own mother could turn so cruel. But she was just getting started. My lawyer, Sarah, called me to her office a week later. The Boston skyline sparkled outside, but the mood was heavy. She slid a folder across her desk, her face grim. "Emily, your mother's been building a case against you for a long time," she said. My hands trembled as I opened its pages of notes, every moment of my life twisted to make me look unfit. March 20th, Emily left Michael at daycare for 9 hours while pursuing her ambitions. One read. May 12th, Lily had a tantrum, a sign of emotional instability. My blood ran cold, shock and betrayal tightening my chest. Margaret had been coming over, offering to babysit, all while documenting my every move. Worse, she recruited witnesses, Aunt Clara, who barely knew our life, and Mrs. Sullivan, a gossipy old neighbor. "She's claiming you're unstable, jumping from job to job," Sarah said. I laughed bitterly. "She doesn't even know what I do now," I said, shaking. Sarah's eyes lit up. "That's our trump card, Emily. When the court hears you're a family court judge, her case will collapse." Relief flickered, but then Sarah's face darkened. "There's more. She's been digging into Rachel's life, trying to make her look hopeless." My heart sank, anger rising. Margaret wasn't just coming for me, she was tearing our family apart, and I was about to learn how far she'd go. The days before the hearing were a haze of anxiety. I'd lie awake, Bill's steady breathing beside me, while doubt crept in. One evening, I wandered into Emma's room, a cozy space with blue walls, a quilted bed, and books waiting for her. The air smelled of fresh paint, a symbol of hope. But doubt hit hard. What if Margaret was right? What if my job made me a bad mom? Tears streamed down my face as I clutched a stuffed bear we'd bought for Emma. Bill found me, kneeling beside me. "Emily, you're an incredible mom," he said, his voice firm with love. "Lily adores you. Michael lights up when you're here, and Emma will too." His words steadied me, but then Rachel called, frantic. Mom's been talking to my rehab counselor," she said. "She's trying to get him to say I am a lost cause to make her look better for custody." My jaw dropped, fury replacing tears. Margaret was using Rachel's addiction as a weapon. The hurt turned to resolve. This was about stopping her manipulation. But the courtroom would reveal an even uglier truth. Walking into the courthouse was surreal. This was my domain, where I sat behind the bench. Today, I was the one on trial, my navy dress feeling like flimsy armor. My heart raced as I saw Margaret, her face composed, untouchable. She took the stand, repeating her lies. Emily's unstable, neglecting Lily and Michael for her career. Whispers rippled through the courtroom, my face burning with rage and shame. Then it was my turn. Chief Justice Elizabeth Morgan, my mentor, leaned forward. "Mrs. Carter, clarify your professional history," she said. I stood, knees trembling. "I've been a family court judge for 7 years, Your Honor." The courtroom gasped, Margaret's face paling, her hands gripping the table. "You what?" she stammered. Elizabeth pressed. "Mrs. Thompson, were you aware of your daughter's profession?" Margaret muttered. I thought she was still an assistant DA. Her lies unraveled, the courtroom buzzing. But Sarah wasn't done. She presented evidence that stopped my heart. Margaret had blackmailed Rachel's rehab counselor, threatening to expose a past infraction unless he testified against Rachel. The counselor, horrified, recorded the call. The room erupted, Margaret's lawyer objecting, but Elizabeth silenced him. "This court will not tolerate coercion," she said. But there was more, and it was darker. Sarah revealed Margaret had stolen a confidential CPS report from Patricia's office during a visit, twisting Rachel's progress to make us look bad. Security footage showed her slipping the file into her bag. My heart pounded, the betrayal sinking deeper. But the darkest twist came next. Margaret had paid Aunt Clara to lie about my instability, promising her a cut of an inheritance. Clara took the stand, tears streaming, admitting it. She said it was for Emma, she whispered. The room was thick with tension, Margaret's face defeated. But the final blow was the most shocking. Sarah uncovered Margaret's attempt to stage an incident at our home to frame me for neglect. She'd hired a stranger, Tom, to leave a suspicious package meant to look like drugs at our door, hoping CPS would investigate. Tom confessed, spilling everything for $1,000 with bank records to prove it. The courtroom erupted, Elizabeth's gavel slamming. She ordered an investigation into Margaret's theft, blackmail, and fraud. Custody of Emma was granted to us, her arrival a burst of light after the storm. Emma's first day was magic. She ran to Lily, their laughter filling the house as they hugged. Michael clapped, babbling at his new playmate. The smell of fresh paint in Emma's room lingered, a symbol of hope. Rachel's in recovery, visiting weekly, her face brighter each time she sees Emma thriving. Margaret left the courthouse without a word, her eyes avoiding mine. I felt no triumph, just sadness for the mother I never had. The betrayal cut deep, but it made me stronger, more grateful for Bill, Lily, Michael, and Emma. Our home is louder, fuller, with laughter and the smell of cookies baking on weekends. But the scars remind me how far family can fall when control takes over. What would you do if your own mother orchestrated a conspiracy to tear your family apart? Could you forgive her, or would you walk away to protect the ones you love? Share your thoughts in the comments. I really want to hear what you do. Subscribe for more real-life dramas that'll keep you hooked, and check out our next video. It's packed with twists that'll leave you speechless.